It's the Platform DFW Podcast, part of the Platform Podcast Network. I'm your host, Mark Henry. Listen, man, we're deep in the high school football season here in the state of Texas. We're heading into week 5, but we had two big games that were heard nationally with these particular games that were heard around the state. They featured two ranked teams in the nation and also in the state of Texas. We're going to start out with North Crowley taking on Rockwall. Now, Rockwall comes in as a team that, in a lot of people's eyes, that wasn't really on the radar as a state contender. Of course, the North Crowley Panthers were ranked number 2 in the state last week in week 4, and Rockwall comes in and gets by them 37-35 in a dramatic game. Reichert, the quarterback, was phenomenal. Now, Reichert's a guy who was a starter as a junior. He's a senior now. He passed for over 2,600 yards and double-digit touchdowns as a junior. He was the steady Eddie and the guy that, led these guys to a comeback victory in the final seconds and a pass to Ryan Wiley. Ryan Wiley's a guy in the 2028 class that you need to know about. He's already got a couple of offers up under his belt. But he took on a very, very good defense from North Crowley, and he made some plays. Also, Jack Duckworth, the Stanford commit, had a wonderful game as well. Now, on the flip side for North Crowley, Jarrell Smith scored 5 touchdowns on the ground for the Panthers, but they came up a little bit short. This was the first time that North Crowley's lost a game in 4 years since Coach Ray Gates has taken over. They've only lost 2 previous games before last week. They were both playoff games, and last year they were the 6A Division I champions. They were coming off, a big victory over DeSoto, over Geyer, in the previous week, the previous 2 weeks, and they had a big win to begin the season. They were undefeated and ranked in the state and ranked in the country. But this was a big game. Rockwall has always been known for receivers. You got Jackson Smith and Jigba, who now plays for the Seahawks. You also had Noble Johnson, who's in college right now. So these guys have been known for receivers. This was a monumental upset, a big win on the road against a perennial power, a state-ranked team and a national-ranked team, and Rockwall gets it done. I think that that Rockwall has the potential to be a team in that district. Now, their district features some heavyweights when you talk about DFW area teams in Forney, North Forney. Longview comes in from East Texas. You also have Rockwall and Rockwall Heath that are in this particular district. Let me see if I can pull up a couple of highlights here that you guys can see real quick from this particular game. This was one of those plays, and we'll look at it here as we see it. Let me see if we can play it here. I'll let you guys see it. Well, that's what we're talking about right there. As you can see, he was a guy that got it done. And you got to look at Rockwall as a team that definitely can compete in that particular district. We're going to run this back one more time for you guys so you can see it. I don't know if the screen shared, but here we go. I really think that Rockwall is setting themselves up for a really special season. You also got Roy City that's in that district over there that features Rockwall Heath, North Forney, and Forney as well, and the Longview Lobos, who are a perennial power in 6A. But this was a big victory. This shows that they have the opportunity to go into their district and be a factor. And I think that Reichert's the guy on the center that's going to lead them. As you can see, he was rolling to his right. He made an off-platform throw on a dime, on a dot. It was a great throw, and that was one of the better defenders in the state of Texas that he made that play on. So, this is a big win for those guys, and definitely something that we got to look forward to when we talk about the Rockwall Yellow Jackets. But the other big game this particular week, and this was the game that we actually went down to, was Waxahachie welcomed in the Duncanville Panthers. The Duncanville Panthers were ranked number 2 in the state at the particular time in week 4, and Waxahachie was undefeated as well. Now, the difference is Waxahachie had played 3 games, and this was Duncanville's only second game of the season, and it was a great game. It ended up being 28-27, and Waxahachie came on top. Now, if you're familiar with the DFW area, this particular district is an 11-6A. It features Duncanville, DeSoto, Waxahachie, Lancaster, Cedar Hill. Those are the top teams in that particular district. It's called the District of Doom for a reason, because I would think the last 5 years, previous champions were Duncanville, back-to-back, and then DeSoto back-to-back. Those were the championship teams that you talked about. And, these were nationally ranked teams. And you can see a lot of these guys on Saturdays right now that were on those particular teams. This was a big matchup for Waxahachie as well because they have one of the top quarterbacks in Jerry Meyer III. They also have a Texas commit in Cohen Brown, who was coming in as one of those guys that you need to have eyes on. But of course, we know Duncanville has two of the best edge rushers in the country in Kevin Ford and Landon Barnes. Landon Barnes is committed to Ole Miss. KJ Ford is committed to Florida. On the outside, on the receiver side, you have 2027 wide receiver Trenton Yancey, SMU commit Zachary Turner, and you have TCU commit Asen Theus. These guys came in with that particular reputation as being an explosive team, but Waxahachie did a phenomenal job of stopping the run. And that was the biggest difference in the game, along with special teams. Waxahachie had a PAT return for a touchdown by Braylon Davis, and then a kickoff return by Jordan Smith, the junior receiver, who had a phenomenal game with some rushing yards as well. But the special teams was the difference in the game. That punt return or the kickoff return and the point after were two big plays that end up being a difference in the game. It was kind of a 3-point swing because Duncanville also missed an extra point. Those were the crucial plays in that particular game. Shout out to Coach Tollison and his staff. They did a wonderful job. But the player of the game for me was Jaquan Snell. He was a 2027 safety. And I think, with this game, he should probably be the top safety in the 2027 class of the state of Texas. His physicalness, his ability to make, bone jarring hits has kind of set the tone for them defensively and even on special teams. Hatchie got it done on special teams, and it was on the defensive side because of Jaquan Snell, Cedric Marsh Jr., Carmelo Clausen, Caden Tollison as well at linebacker, and Cooper at linebacker as well. This is a very good defense. Again, they held Duncanville to under 100 yards rushing. Now, the plays that Duncanville did score were big plays by Theus and Trenton Yancey. And you saw that speed and athleticism that Duncanville's famous for. But, Waxahachie matched that. You know what I'm saying? Cohen Brown didn't have maybe the statistical night, that he would normally have. But he also played on the defensive side of the football at cornerback and kind of shut down one side of the field. And also for Duncanville, I thought Victor Lincoln played a phenomenal game. He's an Arkansas committed cornerback. He was great. He had a pick six, and, he was on Brown most of the night as well. He kind of traveled with him. We're talking about a guy that's long, lean, athletic, a guy that can get it done in the run game as well. He had a couple of big hits. Also, Jalen Manning at linebacker for Duncanville played well also. I think that Duncanville is definitely going to be a playoff team. They're not done. It's not over. This is the first time in a long time that they've had an early season loss, but I think that the Panthers will be back. You'll definitely see them in the playoffs. Now, Waxahachie has a big game this week, and we'll talk about that here on the Platform DFW podcast here in just a second towards the end. But we wanted to break those two games down for you because those were two monumental games, matching up teams that were, highly ranked here in the DFW area. The Southlake Carroll Dragons took care of business in another matchup of highly ranked teams against Euless Trinity at home, 44-0. They're the best team in the state of Texas right now. They're number one. Angelo Randa had a phenomenal game. Brock Boyd, shout out to Brock Boyd. He became the leading receiver in Southlake Carroll history this past week. He's an Ohio State commit, but he definitely had a monster game, and he was a big reason. He's a big reason that the Southlake Carroll Dragons are undefeated. So far in their district, they've taken care of Byron Nelson. They've taken care of Trinity. Those were probably the two contenders in that particular district. Now they go to Keller. They're on the road this week. But I think that the Dragons know that this is a state title season or bust for those guys. They were in the state title last year against Vandergrift, and they lost and came up short. They were undefeated at the time. So it seems like this team is on a mission. I had a chance to see them in the scrimmage against Waxahachie a few weeks ago. Offensively, they look like they're probably the best team in the state. On defense, they got one of the top interior linemen, in my opinion, in Jake Lucky. 10 on the defensive side as well. These guys have the recipe or the makeup of a state title team, and they're the number one team in the state of Texas right now, and they play like it. But these guys definitely know how to get it done and how to win as well. Prosper's another team that won, and also Allen. They're on a collision course as well. That's kind of the north side of DFW, but the Prosper Eagles are undefeated, and also the Allen Eagles are undefeated. Those are two teams that are in the same district, and I expect, we'll probably have to pull up, and that'll be a platform game of the week here in a couple of weeks. And we're going to talk about a game this week in the 4A ranks that we're going to be keeping our eye on as well here in the DFW. Again, you're listening to the DFW Platform DFW Podcast with your host, Mark Henry, part of the Platform Podcast Network. But these teams that we're talking about are teams that are setting themselves up to make a playoff run. When you talk about Prosper and Allen, you got to throw Capel in there as well. I don't think North Crowley's done that. It was a good thing probably that they got that particular game out of the way early so that they can go ahead and focus on what they need to focus on. They take on a tough Mansfield Legacy team this week that took a loss last week. Legacy is probably a team that definitely, has playoff aspirations. But I think North Crowley is going to take this next game as the most serious game and probably the most important game. If you know Coach Gates and that staff, they're going to have these guys ready to play. And then they have, a two-headed monster in the backfield with Jarrell Smith and Keontae Ingram. I think that they're going to bounce back in a big way. And, I look for them to go into the district play against Mansfield Legacy as a team that's on a mission. But we're going to talk about week 5 real quick here on the Platform DFW podcast and a few games that we're going to be looking at. One big game that I definitely want to talk about is the Cedar Hill Lancaster matchup. Now, we talked about 11-6A a little while ago when it featured Duncanville and Waxahachie last week, but I think that these guys will be playing for 4th place probably or 3rd place. This District of Doom is not just about DeSoto. It's not just about Duncanville and Waxahachie. These two teams definitely have something that they want to aspire for as well. And then you got a big matchup over in Mesquite and Mesquite Horn. That's a rivalry. So, these guys in this particular district know that they have to take on the Lancaster and Cedar Hill we're talking about. They have to still take on Waxahachie. They still have to take on DeSoto, and they still have to take on Duncanville. These two teams, this is important for their playoff lives in this particular matchup. It's going to be a physical contest. Now, Lancaster is a very good team. I had a chance to see them early in the year against North Crowley in the first game. It was a weather delay and all kinds of things going on. They had a couple of injuries here at the quarterback position, but they have a pretty good running back in Victor Scott on the offensive side of the ball for Lancaster. So I expect those guys to be heavy run as well as Cedar Hill. So, but in that district this week, the big matchup is Waxahachie goes on the road and they face off against DeSoto. They hadn't beat DeSoto in 6 tries the last couple of years. They've been 0-6. This is a very important game because they had the big emotional win against Duncanville. Now they have to go on the road and face DeSoto, which is a team that they haven't been, they haven't been able to beat. And DeSoto's getting healthy. Legend Howell is back. And let's talk about DeSoto a little bit. They have one of the best 2027 rushers in the state of Texas, not just in the DFW area. And you need to know this guy, and that's Sarod Baker. He's a junior running back. I had a chance to see him against Crowley, North Crowley, a couple of weeks ago, and he was phenomenal. A guy that gets it done. And at the particular time, he was playing quarterback. He's an overall athlete. He could play on the defensive side of the ball if he wanted to, but he's a top flight, top level rusher in the state of Texas. Definitely the DFW area. The Waxahachie defense does play well against the run. And I think that this is going to be the key to the game is can they stop the run? And that's going to be the issue right there because now Waxahachie has faced 2 good offensive lines in Forney and Duncanville last week, and they also faced a good offensive line against Capel, so they're battle tested. I don't think that they're going to go into this DeSoto game for a lack of confidence. They're going to be ready to play. Coach Tomlinson is a defensive guy. Again, they held Duncanville under 100 yards rushing last week, so I think that Waxahachie is the team to beat in this district right now. But they have to go into DeSoto with this particular mindset that they want to take the reins of 11-6A. If they get past these guys, they've got Cedar Hill and Lancaster still to deal with, and I think they're in the driver's seat. But on the flip side, DeSoto is going to have to contend with Jordan Smith, Jordan Thompson-Woods, Cohen Brown, and Taylor Strange on the offensive side. That offensive line is playing well with Gonzalez and Dismuke on the offensive line. You got to have your hands full. But DeSoto does have USC committing Ethan Feaster, who had a big game last week in week 4, over 100 yards and a couple tutties last week as he got his groove back. So this is going to be a great game. You got Coach Mathis, who's definitely one of the better coaches in America, not just in the state of Texas, a future Hall of Famer when it comes to Texas high school coaches. This is going to be a big game. This is a game that we're going to have our eye on here at the Platform DFW. But before we get out of here, the big game of the week in 4A is Salina and Panther Creek. This is a game that we will be at this weekend, so stay tuned to the platform on Twitter, to the platform on Instagram, and the platform.dr.com. We're going to break this game down this week. But Fishkill Panther Creek has Jalen Lott, the Oregon commit, and they also have Donovan Webb, a Texas Tech commit. These guys play both ways. They also have Graylin Fry, who's the quarterback, who's the guy who gets it and spreads the rock around. Now, last year, Salina got the better of them and went on to a 16-0 state title run. They have Bo Bentley, the Oklahoma committed quarterback. This is one of the better quarterbacks, not just in the DFW area, but in the state of Texas. And they also have one of my favorite running backs in Logan Gutierrez. I think that Logan Gutierrez doesn't get enough love as one of the better backs in the DFW area, definitely in the state of Texas. I think that he is a guy that's going to be key. He is I believe he committed, or I know he's got an offer from Lamar, but I think that Gutierrez definitely has the imprint, or he'll put his imprint on the game with that big offensive line in front of him. And also Cameron Lucas on the defensive line for Salina is a guy that you need to know about. It's 2026 interior D lineman that I think, more college coaches should have their eye on this guy. We did a feature on him. You can go and check it out at the platform.dr.com. We did a feature on him a couple of weeks ago. And he's a guy that's been trending. He's got some schools that are eyeing him. We're going to get some eyes on him in person. We saw him last year at the state title game when Salina went on to win it. But I think that this guy is definitely going to be able to control the line of scrimmage. I think that's where Salina kind of took care of business against Panther Creek last year, was they were able to control the trenches. They were able to control the line of scrimmage on offense and defense. And I think that this matchup, is going to be critical in the trenches. There's another guy, I believe, LJ Taylor, that's been playing a great brand of football for Salina. Let me see if I can pull up that tape on him. LJ Taylor's a guy that's going to be, out on the edge. He also returns kicks. He's a speedy guy. He gets it done, and he's a guy that you need to know in the Salina lineup that's going to be prominent in this particular game. I think that he's going to have an impact because, they're going to now to counter that, Frisco Panther Creek can go with Jalen Lott if they want him to travel with him, because he's a top flight defender as well. Jalen Lott's one of the best overall athletes not just in the state of Texas, but nationally. There's a reason he's going to Oregon to play his college football after this year. But Donovan Webb's the guy that gets it done as well. But I think that this is a game of matchups, and will Panther Creek be able to match up in the trenches is going to be the key to the game, because we know Salina is going to be physical. We know they're going to run the football. And then, like I said, LJ Taylor's a guy to watch on the offensive side of the ball that can get it done as well. So I think that, this guy, LJ Taylor's been playing at a high level. And he's been one of those guys that's been a standout for Salina. Let me see if we can pull up the tape here. And take a look at LJ Taylor. He's a guy that's been, playing big time football. As you can see him getting deep there. He's got the speed, and he's a finisher. There he is, spotlighted there in the slot. Nice route, comeback, gets north real quick, and he's got the speed to excel and run after the catch. They're going to use this at Salina. This is a guy that definitely you can see from his exploits that he's got the juice. And he's a guy that's going to get the ball. As you can see, Bo Bentley, he's here in the slot right here. Gets right by the defender, wide open, hands catch. The ball was a little bit underthrown there. But, he's a guy that's going to line up out wide in the slot. He excels. He gets the thing about Taylor is he gets north and south quickly. and he's not going to waste any motion. You're going to have to get on him quick if you want to make a tackle on him. But I think that they'll put a guy like Jalen Lott and Donovan Webb, who are top flight defensive backs as well, to get eyes on this guy. This is going to be the game plan. You're going to have to know and locate where this guy is. You can see that he commands the football, and Bo Bentley gets it to him. So he's got the speed, he's got the ability to make and excel at yards after the catch. I think that he's one of the guys that will definitely be having eyes on when it comes to the Solana Frisco Panther Creek matchup. But I really like this game. I'm going to be at this game. The platform's going to be at this game, and we're going to have all that content for you as the weekend wraps up right here on the Platform DFW podcast. But this is the week 5 edition, man. Listen, I can't believe it. Can you believe the high school football season is halfway over? I don't know, man. I don't know about this. We got to stop this right now. But listen, man, that's all we got for you today. Definitely follow all the platform shows. We got you covered in Florida. We got the Midwest. We got Georgia. We got Houston. Definitely DFW is where it's at because everything's bigger in Texas. You know what I'm saying? And I am your host, Mark Henry, here in the Platform DFW podcast. Follow us on the platform on Twitter, all caps, the Platform DR, and then the platform.dr.com is the website. And listen, go to DR Sports and check out the 2026 season. Is already, the schedule is out, man. 7-on-7 at its best. As you can see, we're rocking the DR7 dedication and respect sports. I am your host, Mark Henry, for this week's edition of the Platform DFW podcast.